understanding a fundamental and ancient truth can transform how you live, think, and, create, effortlessly aligning you with the flow of life itself. Welcome forward. I'm Jaden Easton, and in part 2 of our journey through Thomas Troward's Edinburgh Lectures on mental science, we explored how the higher mode of intelligence controls the lower. It was a glimpse, into this profound connection between minds and matter, and how understanding this principle can unlock new levels of mastery over your own reality. Now, in part 3, we're of course going further. We'll explore how spirit, as an expression of God, is not only unified, but also infinite and omnipresent, like realizing the air that you breathe has touched every corner of earth, connecting you to all of existence and to God in ways that you've probably never imagined. What you'll learn isn't just theory, it's a practical guide to tapping into this infinite unity with God, changing how you think, how you act, and how you experience the world around you. Let's begin. We've laid the groundwork to dive into what's meant by the unity of spirit, right? Like, think of spirit as the foundational essence from which everything originates. It's God's creative essence that hasn't yet been molded into any specific forms. This isn't some distant, ancient concept. It's something that's happening continuously at every moment in the very core of all existence. And when you understand this, you start to see that the differences between individual forms are just surface level. Beneath those differences, there's a deep, essential unity that supports and connects all forms of individuality that arise from it. As we dig deeper into the nature of all of this, into the all-encompassing spiritual substance, it becomes clear that it can't be confined to any specific part of space. It's as limitless as space itself, reflecting the boundless nature of God's presence. The idea of a place where this substance doesn't exist is just unimaginable. It's one of those fundamental truths that the human mind just can't escape. This primordial, life-generating spirit must be as vast as infinity. And, here's the kicker. When we talk about infinity, right, we're really talking about unity. You can't have two infinites because each would limit the other, and that would kind of contradict the very idea of being infinite now, wouldn't it? You also can't divide infinity into parts. Doing so would turn unity into multiplicity. It's like trying to cut a pie that keeps growing every time you slice it, right? Like, no matter how many slices you take, you're still stuck with a whole pie. Good luck sharing that at a family dinner, right? Now, this concept of unity is crucial, and it can't be overstated. Unity, by its very nature, can't be multiplied or divided without losing its essence, right? Like, when you multiply, you get multiple units on the same scale as the original. When you divide, right, you get smaller units, but in both cases, you're not dealing with unity anymore, you're dealing with multiplicity. So, if you want to understand the true essence, of individuality, you have to go beyond the idea of separate individual existence and really tap into the unity of universal being, which reflects God's infinite nature. This might seem like a lofty philosophical idea, but really it's the cornerstone of all practical work that you're going to do. To produce real, tangible results, you need to grasp that these abstract concepts are the foundation for everything that follows. Take a moment right now to reflect, how does this idea of unity change your understanding of individuality? What happens when you see yourself not as separate, but as deeply connected to everything else? The key to understand about unity is that because it's a single indivisible whole, wherever it exists entirely. And the moment we start thinking about it in terms of like space, like one part of the unit being here and another part being there, we've moved away from this idea of unity, and we've really returned back to the realm of parts or fractions, multiplicity. And once you're dealing with parts, you're talking about a collection of smaller units, not a true unity. Okay? In this case, right, you're dealing with relationships between multiple entities, each limited by the others, which takes you out of the realm of pure unity, the absolute, and into the relative. It's kind of like trying to convince yourself that pizza is a healthy choice because you're eating it one slice at a time. Like, sure, in your mind, the pizza is divided into parts, but deep down, it's still one whole pizza that you just consumed. Hey, I've been there. No judgment. Because the life principle that underlies everything is, infinite, it also must be single. It must be a single indivisible unit. And this means that wherever this principle exists, the entirety of it must be present. And since it's infinite, right, without any limits, it's everywhere. So it follows that the entirety of spirit is present at every point in space, all at once. Spirit, therefore, is omnipresence in its full essence, and logically at every moment in time, all spirit is concentrated at any point in space where we focus our attention. Imagine, if you could be at every party happening in town simultaneously, never missing out on the fun. That's basically what spirit is doing, just without the social anxiety. Pause and consider now, how does the idea of spirit being fully present everywhere influence how you experience your surroundings and your place in the world? This is a fundamental truth of existence, and it's why I've taken the time to explain the relationship between spirit and matter as the relationship between idea and form, right? On one side, you have, again, the absolute, where the concepts of time and space don't apply. And on the other side, you have the relative, which is entirely dependent on those concepts. The crucial fact here, is that pure spirit continuously exists in the absolute, whether or not it's embodied in a physical form, and all phenomena, whether mental or physical, they flow from this truth. And understanding this fact about spirit is the foundation of all conscious spiritual practice, right? As we deepen our recognition of this truth, our ability to create tangible, visible results through the power of our thoughts will increase, right? We'll become a more powerful co-creator with God. The whole is greater than any of its parts. So when we recognize this unity and focus all spirit into a single point at any given moment, we encompass any aspect of it that we wish to influence. I mean, consider this. How might focusing the unity of spirit into a single point of influence change the way you approach your goals and challenges? Think about it. By now, you should be starting to grasp some of the practical significance of this. If not, I do have an exercise I'm going to walk you through at the end. But I'll layer back into this. Pure spirit is, the life principle that's viewed separately from the physical world, where it interacts with time and space in specific forms. In this pure state, it's pure intelligence, not yet shaped into individual personalities. As pure intelligence, it's infinitely responsive and receptive. We talked about this in part 2. Because it exists beyond the confines of time and space, it doesn't possess individual personality. In this form, it's an impersonal force that we can shape with our recognition of personality thanks to its inherent intelligence and receptiveness. These are the fundamental principles that, as mental scientists, we work with, and it's crucial for you to deeply consider their significance and the responsibilities that come with truly understanding and applying these concepts to your life. So based on your feedback, I want to help make these lessons a little bit more actionable. So we are going to end with an exercise to help you better practically apply what we dove into today on this, unity of spirit. So the next time that you sit down to work on something meaningful, whether it's something to do with your job, a passion project, or just a personal goal, instead of diving headfirst into it, what I want you to do is take a moment to ground yourself in the unity of spirit. So I want you to take out your phone or set a timer on your computer for just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, that's all I'm asking. And during these 2 minutes, what I want you to do first, for the first 30 seconds or so, is just really focus on your breathing. Shift from shallow breathing to kind of deep breathing. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and let your mind be clear of any distractions, just as best as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect. So as you start to, get a little bit more centered, connected to your breath, as you continue to breathe, I want you to visualize yourself in your mind's eye, not as an individual working in isolation, but as a being interconnected with God and the infinite unity of spirit. You might even want to imagine that, there's a ray of light shining down upon you, which you can really think of as, the energy and wisdom of the entire universe. It's flowing through you. You're no longer alone. You're actually being guided. Your thoughts and actions are being guided by God. And, when the timer goes off, you can stop your visualization and you can start your work or whatever it is that you're focused on. But I want you to do so keeping and maintaining this feeling of connectedness and unity. I want you to let this feeling inform how you approach your tasks, knowing that you're aligned with a greater force, right? It's no longer just your hand at work. And it might sound crazy, it might sound out there, and the first time you do this, you might not notice too much of a difference, but, challenge yourself. Just do an experiment. Try it for a week. And I'd be interested to hear in the comments how this exercise goes for you and, what you notice. By incorporating this simple practice, you can transform your work sessions into deep moments of connection with the unity of spirit, enhancing your focus, creativity, and effectiveness, and giving you more energy because you're not just operating off of pure willpower. You're being energized and powered by something much greater. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video like my other videos and you want to dive even deeper into this mastery of mental science, you know what to do. Go to betterthought.com and subscribe to my newsletter. And not only will you find bonus material to complement what you just learned, but you'll be notified as soon as the next video in this series is released. So go to betterthought.com now and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Until next time, Godspeed.